service of others sounds like the best thing you could possibly do. And I don't know why I had that thought, because I wasn't a spiritual kid growing up. I wasn't a religious kid growing up. I wasn't even a good kid growing up. I was just a rebel, a misfit, trying things out, an experimenter, which I still consider myself. And so what I started to do is I was interning at companies and firms and corporates, thinking I was getting a grad job afterwards. And then I'd spend the rest of my summer holidays interning in India, living with him as a monk. So I'd use all my summer and Christmas holidays to just be out there with the monks. And he introduced me to another 200 to 500 monks that were just like him, just as smart, just as bright, giving up everything they had and using all their skills to make the world a better place.
Did you already have a sense of unease that like I'm a rebel without a cause, or like what was it about that moment? And you seem very aware of yourself. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping that some of that awareness was present then. Like, what was that moment?
I believe the moment was I've always had friends who are older than me. And I could see a lot of them in the most successful careers, successful jobs, beautiful partners, whatever it was. But I saw a sense of lack of fulfillment, meaning and purpose in their lives. And I've always been an observer, and I would see these people who are like 5 years older than me, 7 years older than me, maybe 10 years older than me. And I'd be watching them and go, is that the life I want? And often the advice I give to people today is fast forward where you are, look at yourself in 10, 15, 20 years time, and ask yourself the question, is that where I want to be? When you flick through this book, there's loads of little activities that you can actually do, and I love that because I love being able to put your thoughts down on paper. Just getting out of your head is such an important thing. And I think if you don't have frameworks and structures to get them down, we just kind of live up going round and round and round, which I'm sure you've experienced a lot of. I love how,
Jay, it's funny you bring that up, mate, because I heard a thing from a neurologist the other day. I was on a podcast, I'm not hanging out with neurologists, right? And they goes that when you engage your rational mind, it takes you out of your emotion. It's very curious that the step 10 thing in this program is if something's bothering you, say like if Jay, when we're outside, went, Russell, you look terribly overweight, which Jay would never say because he's too enlightened, as I've already mentioned. And I'm like, instead of thinking about that and worrying about it, I'd go, Jay, because he said that thing about me being overweight, this affects my pride, it affects my self-esteem, it affects my personal relations. That's not the script I'd give Jay. I want Jay to say other stuff. Does it affect my sexual relations? No, Jay and I are both married, and as far as I know, we're both heterosexual. We've not examined that. And then my ambitions, my ambition to be like in control of my own life. There's a whole system. Now, when you go into the fourth column, and you should check this stuff out on my website, russellbrand.com, you can see it. Who's that lovely guy? Like, it asks you various questions. Did I make any mistakes? Yeah, I care too much about what other people think of me. What are your fears? My fears are that if other people don't love me, I'm not good enough. Now, so it puts you in a rational part of your mind, and it also starts to help you to understand what patterns are at play when you feel bad about yourself. What are the patterns? Like, why is it so... If people let me down, I'm really strongly affected by it because it reaches back into my past of times when I was let down when I was small and fragile, I guess. And I think everybody's got their own version of that. This helps you to unpick the tapestry of your broken consciousness and restore to you a screen of pure mind through which a new radiant light can emerge and self-realization can take place. Just made that up.
Yeah.
It's good, wasn't it? It's not even in the book.
Yeah, we should... Next one.
Well, yeah, I'll do another one.
Yeah,
we can collaborate. We can do a live book with you. You're so skilled.
There's this beautiful, beautiful piece in the book which you call "Here is a Postcard from the Other Side," and you've touched on it already, but I had it noted and I wanted to bring it up. So this is Russell. Here is a postcard from the other side. Fame, luxury items, and glamour are not real and cannot solve you. Whether it's a pair of shoes, a stream of orgies, a movie career, or global adulation. They're all just passing clouds of imaginary pleasure.
It's true, although I still got those shoes. It's very well read, that, Jay, and it is true.
Justice.
No, you did it more than justice. You brought it to life. It was wonderful. But so I suppose, I like that. It's a very common metaphor. The idea of passing clouds. We all recognise that clouds are impermanent and the result of precipitation. And similarly, the vapours of consciousness form into clouds, but they will pass. What we attach to is what's important, particularly if we want to create a sort of a positive ecology in our own consciousness.
So an ideal life for me is a life, and this applies to a company, an organization, an institution for me, An ideal life is when we all have a head, a heart, and a hand, all three elements together, working in alignment. Without one or the other, we start to lose something. So a head is the clarity of vision, what you want, knowing what you want, the way you picture life, and being able to navigate and make the decisions to get there. That's a good head. A good heart is being able to understand what your intuition and heart wants, being able to connect and tap into that understanding deeper and beyond the vision you may have painted for yourself. So I often say to people that you'll get to where you want in life, just not in the way you imagined. And that's because the path that's paved up and down is far different to the path we pave. So you can have a great head and a great vision and a great mission and know where you want to go, but if your heart's not able to have that resilience and be able to adapt and have compassion and care and all of that, then you're not going to be able to make the toughest decisions without your heart. But to be able to realize that we need to care and be sustainable and long-lasting requires a heart. And a hand is that service, wanting to pass that on, that which you have, wanting to give it forward, pay it forward. The idea of serving with what you have. I often say to people, your passion is for you, your purpose is for others. Your passion makes you happy, but when you use your passion to make a difference in someone else's life, that's a service, that's a purpose, and that's the hand. So those are my three elements of an ideal life.
All right, I've got one more thing that I want to hear you talk about. Which are your 3 E's.
Ooh.
What are they? Why do they matter?
So for me, my 3 E's are element, environment, and energy. Everyone has an element that they thrive in. If you take someone out of their element, they won't be the same. A modern day example would be Michael Jordan. He was incredible at basketball. You took him out of basketball, put him into baseball, no one remembers his career. You're talking about one of the best athletes of all time. Your environment is the environment around you. You can take a fish out of water and give it a beautiful mansion and a Bentley and all the money in the world, but it will die. And that's what we are, like our environment. Everyone needs an environment which they thrive, which we have to craft. Your boss, if you're at work, is never going to ask you, hey, what environment do you succeed in, right? Like, that never happens. So we have to create an environment where we thrive. And then finally, it's energy. Some of us love high energy environments, high pressure. Some of us succeed in low energy environments and low pressure. Figuring out your energy and the frequency on which you operate best will help you thrive as well. So for me, those are the 3 E's to really create a thriving environment. Know your element, know your environment, and know your energy. And so at all times, if I see anything going wrong, I'm going, is my element out of alignment? Is my environment out of alignment? Or is my energy out of alignment? And that's a great 3-question test you can do to yourself when you don't think things are going right. And all you have to do is bring that back. When asked, what's the biggest mistake we make in life? The Buddha replied, the biggest mistake is you think you have time. Time is free, but it's priceless. You can't own it, but you can use it. You can't keep it, but you can spend it. And once it's lost, you can never get it back. The average person lives 78 years. We spend 28.3 years of our life sleeping. That's almost a third of our life, but 30% of us struggle to sleep well. We spend 10.5 years of our life working, but over 50% of us want to leave our current jobs. Time is more valuable than money. You can get more money, but you can never get more time. We spend 9 years on TV and social media. We spend 6 years doing chores. We spend 4 years eating and drinking. We spend 3.5 years in education. We spend 2.5 years grooming. We spend 2.5 years shopping. We spend 1.5 years in childcare, and we spend 1.3 years commuting. That leaves us with 9 years. How will we spend that time? Steve Jobs said, your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. So there's good news and there's bad news. The bad news is time flies. The good news is you're the pilot. Imagine you wake up every day with $86,400 in your bank account. And at the end of the night, it's all gone. whether you spent it or not. And then the next day, you get another $86,400. What would we do with it? Every day, 86,400 seconds are deposited into your life account. At the end of the day, once they're all used up, you get a new 86,400 seconds. We would never waste it if it was money, so why do we waste it when it comes to time? Those seconds are so much more powerful than dollars, because you can always make more dollars, you can't always make more time. To realize the value of 1 year, ask a student who failed a grade. To realize the value of 1 month, ask a mother who lost their child in the final month. To realize the value of 1 week, ask the editor of an online magazine. To realize the value of 1 hour, ask the couple who's in a long distance relationship. To realize the value of 1 minute, ask the person who just missed a bus, train, or plane. To realize the value of 1 second, ask the person who just missed an accident. And to realize the value of a millisecond, ask the person who just came second at the Olympics. We think that it's people wasting our time, but it's really us giving them the permission to do that. And in reality, these two people live inside us. Don't let someone be a priority when all you are to them is an option. Some of us lose the people most important to us because we don't value their time. Some of us don't recognize how important someone is to us until they're gone. Inside all of us are two voices. One voice that wants to uplift, one voice that wants us to expand, one voice that wants us to grow. And then there's the other voice, the voice that holds us back, the voice that makes us lazy, the voice that makes us complacent, the voice that restricts us from our potential. Every day, from the moment we wake up to the moment we go to sleep, inside of us there's this battle between the two voices. And guess which one wins? The one that we listen to the most, the one that we feed, the one that we amplify. It is our choice of how we use our time. Life and time are the best two teachers. Life teaches us to make good use of time, and time teaches us the value of life. And as William Shakespeare said, time is very slow for those who want, very fast for those who are scared, very long for those who are sad, very short for those who celebrate. But for those who love, time is eternal.
You've touched on it a few times, Russell. You've talked about not doing this on your own, having people around that you trust. You talk about in the book needing mentors. How useful is that for you in the process of having worked with people who've been through these steps and these programs before you?
It's absolutely vital for me, Jay, to have mentors, because I'm still crazy. I still have bad ideas every single day. Now I have the opportunity that if I'm thinking of doing something crazy, I ring someone up before I do it. That's the key bit, before I do it, and go, hey, I'm thinking of doing this crazy thing, shall I do it? They go, don't do the crazy thing. And then I have a moment and I don't do the crazy thing. Because when you are emotionally involved in your own life, and your emotions stop you being rational and clear-headed. But other people, you know this, that when I give advice to other people, I give good advice. If Jay were to ask me, oh, listen, this is happening in my life, I go, oh, no, don't do that, Jay, da, da, da. But in my own life, I'm like an idiot. I'm making stupid mistakes, I'm knocking stuff over, I'm being sick down my own top, I'm a fool. But in Jay's life, I'm very wise. So it's important to have the counsel of other people. Collectively and in community, we are powerful. It's only as individuals we're very, very stupid.
And how long did it take you to go from calling someone after you messed up to before?
That's a key part of the journey, because like it's very easy to bring someone when you're smacked up off your head, or if you're drunk, or if you've just made yourself puke up in the toilet, or you've bought some dumb stuff, or you've looked at some pornography, you've spent too much time staring at your phone, go, oh, I've done it, I feel filthy, I don't feel good anymore. If you bring them in advance of it, then you get an opportunity to do something else. Here are the simple things you do. You speak with someone who's further down the path than you are. You speak to someone who's not so far down the path, and you help them. You just think about what they're doing for a change. And then also, in addition to this, you seek the collective company so that you recognize your identity as a member of a community, however you identify, and importantly, prayer and meditation for me, a recognition of the transcendence and the people that can help you in those areas that are further down that particular path.
And how incredible would it be if we had a planet where everyone was thinking about everyone else? Because then everyone would have 7.999 billion people thinking about them, as opposed to one, which is quite a incredible thing to think about.
Jay, you're so advanced and you're really good at
really
this. I watch you doing this thing. You're like sort of a domineering time lord. You're like someone from the future. Hey, we've got this guy coming over. You are,
very good.
to use the parlance of the millennials, you're very, very woke.
Oh, yeah, you're embarrassing me, but thanks, Rustin.
We convince ourselves technology is helping. The reality is, people don't seem enough for us these days. We condense books into articles, into lists, into GIFs, because who has time to read an actual sentence anymore? We scroll and click and double tap our lives away, wondering where the day goes. We're more anxious than any generation before us, yet we keep downloading another app hoping that it can fix us. We look to the latest trends, check the reviews on Yelp, investigate the hashtags, yet in a world with so much information, we're somehow still missing the wisdom of life. We crave real connection, but we'd rather text about the hard conversations. We desire relationships, but settle for following each other on Twitter. We stare at the pretty pictures on Instagram instead of the person standing right in front of us. We prefer filtered images to reality. We listen to a new podcast over a person's day. We check social media more than we check in with our friends. In our constant need for new information, new insights, new everything, we lose the chance to make old memories. We like being busy. We wear it like a badge of honor. We can't focus because we're being pulled in 50 different directions. We can't commit because there always seems to be another option, a better alternative. We have trust issues with the people we've known for years, yet we trust someone's review that we just saw on Amazon. We want to hold hands while still holding on to our phones. We scroll through Twitter while we have lunch with our friends. We think we can keep one foot out the door while still falling for the person sitting in front of us. We always need the latest, the newest, the most up-to-date, and then wonder why relationships don't last. We walk around stores on FaceTime and text during work because life without multitasking feels inefficient. We fill our schedule, we fill our days, we fill our phones thinking that will cure the emptiness that we feel inside us. We binge another series of that latest Netflix show because someone else's story drowns out the experience of our own. We complain that nothing feels real anymore, but we don't give anything time to become real. We complain nothing has depth, but we don't allow things space to deepen. We're so quick to